And showtime, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the latest episode of the ChannelPro 5-Minute Roundup. Look at news, trends, and tips for the SMB channel in 5 minutes or thereabouts. My name is Rich Freeman. I am executive editor of the ChannelPro Network. I'm also one of your co-hosts on this program. I am joined this week, as every week, by Eric Simpson, my co-host, who is also a business improvement and transformation consultant for MSPs and other IT providers. And Eric, how's it going this week?
It's going fantastic this week, Rich. I'm here at home base, but appears like you're not at home base this week.
So I am here in Poplar Grove, Illinois. I am spending the next few days with my ChannelPro colleague, my ChannelPro Weekly podcast co-host, Matt Whitlock. So I'm in his home here. And I will quickly say, for people who actually do listen to the ChannelPro Weekly podcast regularly and hear Matt talk about the technology museum that he has, and he shares technology from the museum. You're looking at it behind me. The glass case right there is sort of the kind of showcase for his museum pieces.
I wonder if we might see or hear from Matt while we're doing this week's podcast. Let's find out.
Wouldn't that be interesting? So we'll find out. But for right now, let's just plunge into our story of the week. And it's a really interesting one and a relevant one in a number of ways. So, I mean, we have been speaking a lot in the industry, on the show, on the ChannelPro Weekly podcast about the security threats that are being trained at MSPs these days. And just a couple episodes ago, we were talking about some vulnerabilities in ConnectWise software. We know that a lot of the other manufacturers out there also have that kind of issue, vulnerabilities. We know that MSPs are getting hacked. Well, thank you.
Yeah. I know it's cold.
It is a little cool here in Poplar Grove, Illinois. Some snow on the ground, so that's quite comfortable.
It's nice to recognize the King of the North.
So as I warm up here, what is not comfortable these days is being an MSP and knowing that there are hackers out there who are trying to break into your systems, get to the passwords that you're storing for customers and all the other valuable information out there. So a story emerges this week, and I will say I first heard about this months ago at the IT Nation Connect event. It was very much under wraps then because the story was unfolding in real time, and they wanted to make sure that they took care of everything in an appropriate way. But what happened basically round about early October is some folks at Datto were rooting around a little bit in the dark web, trying to see if they could find anything that might be dangerous to them or one of their partners or an end user supported by a partner. And they found a listing, and I mean, truly, this is like a classified ad on the dark web that said, hey, I've broken into an MSP's management console. I've got total access to all these virtual private servers that they're managing. I've got all their passwords, $600 worth of Bitcoins, and it's yours. Now, this is an amazing illustration, about as frank an illustration, stark an illustration as you're going to get to of the dangers that MSPs are in right now. Hackers are coming after MSPs in a big way, and this is what happens when they break in. In this particular case, we discover eventually it was a phishing attack. A phishing email went to the MSP, somebody fell for it, and as a result, this hacker now has access to all these management systems. Now, what's interesting about this story and important in terms of where we go from here is that Datto comes across this information, in the past. What would they have done about that, basically? Because nobody knows who the MSP is in this particular case.
Or the hacker, for
that matter.
Right.
So this time what they did is they went to Huntress Labs. And the reason they knew to go to Huntress Labs is because last summer, Datto and Huntress Labs got together and they said, the only way we are going to beat the bad guys in this fight against cybercrime is to band together and share information. And they were the two charter members of a information sharing and analysis center. Eventually, other organizations, ConnectWise and Kaseya, got involved. Today, it's approximately 30 vendors who are sharing information about security threats. For anyone who's a fan of the Rockford, Illinois IceHogs, there you go.
Go IceHogs. Go IceHogs.
Go IceHogs, baby. So this organization forms last summer, and they are now sharing information. And so Datto has a place to go with this lead that they've found. And Huntress sees this information. They are expert, basically, at investigating this kind of thing. And they were able to figure out, they made contact with the hacker. They, with an assumed identity, they pretended to be interested in buying this information. They succeeded in luring the hacker into giving them a screenshot of this management console that they'd hacked into. Using clues from that, Huntress was able to figure out who the MSP is. They approached the MSP. They said, "You've got this problem. We're going to work with you on remediating that." But it's the kind of resolution to this story that would not have happened had this cooperative organization not been in place. And it's the kind of thing that the vendors who are in this organization now are looking to do more of going forward. They're very much looking to get more vendors involved. From a longer term perspective, they want to get MSPs involved as well. And they really want to rally the forces out there, and get people sharing information, get them talking about best practices. Because again, that's really the thing that's going to allow, MSPs and the vendors who serve them to combat these kind of attacks and prevent this sort of thing from happening. And I will say this, Eric, just to further illustrate that this is not a fluky thing, a one-off kind of thing. Just within the past few days, the people at Huntress have found more listings very much like that one that the Datto folks discovered in October. This is going on all the time, and we're going to be seeing it going on more and more often.
Yeah, it really, as I was reading the story, it really felt like, this is a win, for the good guys, right? We're going to collaborate together, and we're going to partner together to try to identify who the MSP was. And it took quite a while for them to dig and finally figure out, through first determining what the PSA was and then contacting one of the leadership at that PSA organization, and them saying, yes, these clients are clients of this particular MSP. And so it was kind of this rallying call. And I kind of just felt like, wow, this is, really awesome that, we're fighting back. I just wonder, how effective that can potentially be, because, recently the hacker came back again and, has pwned another MSP, and they found the listing again, and they had to it was really interesting reading how the folks at Datto had to assume, an identity specifically and speak to the hacker through, another private chat area, and make them believe that they were, also a hacker, and not to give away that they were in the US, saying, oh, we're going to convert, euros to Bitcoins, and kind of stringing them along, being that, almost that how to catch a predator type thing. It was a really interesting read. And it just kind of empowers everyone to say, holy cow, if we see something, say something, reach out. We have a community of folks that are willing to jump in and participate and try to help protect, our partners and our MSPs. So, boy, it must be the wind chill must be getting pretty brutal over there, Rich.
Yeah, the lake effect, as they say. Yeah, but boy, I'm feeling warmer and warmer with every passing minute here. I will say it was actually Huntress as opposed to Datto that did all that kind of cloak and dagger work. And I'll make sure to credit ConnectWise as well, because they played a role in this story. Once Huntress had figured out who the MSP was, they figured we can't just pick up the phone and call these guys and say, hey, we've discovered this problem, because there's no way the MSP is going to believe this is legitimate. It's like some vendor I've never heard of says, hey, we found somebody who broke into your systems. It's going to sound like some sort of marketing scam or something like that. So Huntress went to ConnectWise. They also figured out at Huntress that this MSP was a ConnectWise user. They go to ConnectWise. ConnectWise, which has a trusted relationship with the MSP, was the one that actually was able to alert them to the issue. And it's a fascinating story. And again, hats off to everyone involved in it. But I've got a follow-up article about this coming soon, based on conversations with Huntress and Datto. And they're the first to point out what happened here is not scalable. Huntress cannot go after each and every bad actor here who breaks into an MSP system. So, this collaborative organization, this information sharing organization that was formed last summer, very informal in the beginning, and it still is at this point. And they're asking themselves all sorts of very interesting questions right now about how do we scale this? How do we interface with law enforcement? What are the safest, smartest, most effective ways to share information when we discover a situation like this? and do it in a way that isn't actually going to imperil anybody. They have a lot of really big, interesting questions to ask. But they're 100% committed to this effort, and I really do believe it's an important and necessary effort here.
Yeah, it might not be sustainable from Huntress' perspective or Dato's perspective, but big things come from small beginnings. I mean, all we need to do is to get some of the big behemoths in the industry, the Ciscos and the Microsofts to get wind of this and go, holy cow, yes, we can help. I mean, it could really create, something big. Could be the start of something. I'll be curious to wait and see.
Now, if you are an MSP who is hacked, maybe the bad guys hack their way into one of your customers because of some vulnerability or problem in your systems, if you are in any way liable for a hack that it makes its way to your customers, that could be a big problem for you. And that has to do with your tip of the week, Eric.
Yep. It could be a very big problem. So my tip of the week is, and as we're talking, I'm going to evolve it just a little bit, right? So the tip of the week includes, and while I'm having the tip of the week, I expect you to come back with a nice big mug of hot chocolate with marshmallows. Rich, I'm sure something's brewing.
What an excellent idea.
There it is. So how do I predict that? We're aligned today. So here's something that's really, really important, right? Twofold. Number one, please secure cyber liability risk insurance for yourself and every one of your clients. That is step one. That is non-negotiable. You will not work with a client if they do not have a cyber liability insurance policy in place. You can provide that to them. There's lots of vendors out there that offer this service. Please do so. I was speaking with a partner the other day. They sent me an email and said, "Hey, Eric, I've got this question. We're trying to put together our cybersecurity program for our customers, and we're worried about flat feeing the service, because what if it takes us 100 hours to help them recover from a breach or an incident?" And I said, no. Purchase and put in place cyber liability insurance policies for all your customers. And that way, all the work that you end up having to do, you file a claim against that policy to get paid for it. Where no one's asking you to work for free. So number one, cyber liability insurance policy to protect yourself and your customers. And two, when you're presenting services to a new prospect or an existing client that are exactly what they need to increase their security posture or improve some efficiency or something in their organization, and they decline that service, have a release of liability waiver form at the ready for them to sign. And you present it to them and they will say, "What is this?" And you say, "Well, I've informed you of the risk that you're under, and I've given you options that I can provide to help secure you from these risks. You have declined. So I now need you to release me of any liability that may occur should you be hacked or breached or anything like that." Now, of course, it's really kind of a sales tool because when you get breached, I mean, hey, I live in California, right? Everybody's going to get sued no matter what. It's just what happens here. I know that there's other states and locations that do the same thing, but at least what you're trying to do is get the client to go, "Okay, wait a minute. This is serious. Wait, let me read this now." And it's a way for you to say, "Listen, please, I cannot work with you if you do not at least subscribe to our most basic cybersecurity program," right? Which includes cyber liability insurance, end user security awareness training, all the stuff that is going to help that company increase their security posture. Is it going to prevent every single hacker from penetrating it? No. It's like, when a car thief walks down the aisle of cars, the car with the steering wheel lock, right, and the alarm lights flashing, they'll walk past that one and get to the car that doesn't have that stuff, right? It's just easier to do that. But in case of a breach, your liability insurance policy will cover the cost of remediation. So that's where I'm getting at, is like, this stuff is getting serious. MSPs are at risk. MSPs clients are at risk. Here are a couple of simple steps you can take to help protect yourself and your clients, and hopefully get them to think twice before they turn away from securing their environment with your services.
Yeah, I'm running into more and more MSPs who are doing exactly that. They're getting these liability statements and putting them out in front of their customers. And, for the two reasons that you highlight there. And one is, it really does legitimately protect you. If a client makes reckless decisions about their willingness to invest in security, you don't want to be making those risky decisions along with them. But it is a sales tool as well, as you said. It really does tend to get the attention of the customer. And I've spoken to a lot of people who said the customer was not willing to make the investments they needed to make until I put that form in front of them. And it really did kind of sober them up a little bit. And they realized there might be something to this, and I might really need to go ahead and do that. And quite honestly, everybody wins in that scenario. If that form inspires the customer to spend the money that they really should be spending, that's a good thing for everybody.
Absolutely.
Well, we have got time for just one more story this week before I melt from all these different layers of warmth here that I'm enjoying right now. And, as we record this, we're just a little over a week away from Valentine's Day. Maybe you're still trying to come up with that perfect little gift for that special someone, or maybe not so special someone anymore in your life. We've got a perfect suggestion for you that has recently appeared in the news, and it comes to us courtesy of the San Antonio Zoo. Which would be happy in exchange for just $25 to allow you to name a rat. Anything you want, attach any name you want to that rat, and then watch them feed it to a snake. Now, I'm going to guess many of us have been in a relationship that really couldn't end in a better way than a rat bearing somebody's name and then getting fed to a snake. This really could be the dream Valentine's Day gift for some of us. And by the way, this is connected to a larger event called the Crimea Cockroach event that the San Antonio Zoo is doing, because it's $25 for a rat, but for $5, you can name a cockroach and watch that get fed to something.
Well, I tell you what, Rich, I can just see the viral potential of that event for jilted, lovers and ex-boyfriends and girlfriends and significant others. I can just see it now. I can't wait for the day after Valentine's Day to see any videos on social media of people actually doing that. What a way to say sayonara, buddy, to someone that you no longer want to have anything to do with.
And you make a snake happy. The rat doesn't come out very well in this story, but at least the snake does.
Hey, snakes got to eat. Snakes got to eat too.
Yeah. That is all the time we've got this week in the 5-Minute Roundup, folks. Thank you very much for joining us. We will be back again next week, and I'll just have to shiver or something apparently, but not this week. Clearly not this week. I believe that's layer 8. So thank you very much for joining us. If you like the show, you want to keep up on future episodes, take a look at some past ones maybe that you missed, what you want to do is go to the ChannelPro Network channel on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe to that there. Make sure you click on that bell if you want to get notifications when new episodes become available. To read up more about this story involving Datto and Huntress Labs and ConnectWise and get business growth tips and all sorts of other great information on a daily basis, please go to channelpronetwork.com. There's great stuff for you all the time. To learn more about Erick and the work that he does with his clients, your destination should be ericksimpson.com. That is ERICK Simpson.com. Until then, there I am going to, well, thank goodness I've got gloves in case I need to go outside, but I'm not going outside. I'm just sipping some cocoa here. While Erick and I enjoy the rest of our week, please, we will be enjoying the rest of your week as well. And now I've just completely blown the end of the show. I'm too covered in warmth here, Erick. So please enjoy the rest of your week. Erick and I are enjoying the rest of your week already.